Hey guys, welcome back to Faith Family Cars, and today we've got the F-100 in the shop, and we've got a fun little project that we're going to be working on. At least I think it's a fun little project. I'm excited about it. But here recently, my wife and I, we took a little trip in the F-100. It was back at the end of October. We went to see our friend Eddie Pat down in North Carolina, and while we were there, we hit up C10 Revival. What a show. You know, I told my son the other day, it's crazy. We're Ford guys. I've had this F-100 for 5 years, 6 years now, and I've never made it to F-100 Super Nats or Grand Nationals, either one. And it seems like every time they roll around, either me and my wife are traveling the week prior, it's usually the way it went, or the truck was down. So, and then this year, we were gonna go. I had plans all laid out to go, and the seat wasn't done at the upholstery shop. So scratch that plan for this year. So maybe next year. But somehow I ended up at one of the largest C10 shows this year before I've ever made it to an F-100 show. Crazy. But I really enjoyed the show. I was excited to go, honestly, because we got that Suburban out there, and we're going to be starting on it real soon. So I want to get some ideas. So I thought the show was awesome. The C10 Fall Revival is at an awesome location, Denton Farm Park, beautiful area there. We got to meet up with a lot of people, got to hang out with Eddie and Daniel, Rev Garage. We got to hang out with Steve Anderson of Crossthread Garage, and what an awesome time. Good day. And I've got a little bit of content here. We're going to hop into it and let you guys see what C10 Fall Revival is all about.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today is a great day. We got Jerry here from Faith Family Cars, the other Eddie, and we are headed to probably my favorite show of the year, the C10 Fall Revival.
Mainstay sponsors for this event.
C10
so they're going to run the large booth
Fall Revival. So C10 Fall Revival was a blast. We had a great time. What an awesome show. And you know, these shows are always great when you're hanging out with your friends. Got a lot of ideas for my Suburban, and I can't wait to really get started on it, to be honest, after seeing some of the stuff we saw there. But one of the things my wife and I really figured out on this trip is that the little JBL Bluetooth speaker just ain't cutting it. So you get on the interstate running 70 mile an hour, and really anything above 60 mile an hour, you're getting so much wind noise inside the cab, so much exhaust sound inside the cab. And don't get me wrong, exhaust sound is awesome. But sometimes when you're rolling down the interstate and you've been driving several hours, you just want to hear some tunes. And that little Bluetooth speaker, you ain't hearing much with all that noise coming in. So I was like, we've got to put some kind of radio or sound system in this truck that you can actually hear. So today's project, The goal is to install a sound system that's hidden, that you can't see, but puts out some really nice quality sound, so we're going to be able to hear it above all the noise inside the cab. So let's get into it. This truck did not come out with a radio at all. Factory delete plate, you can see there. I actually took the factory delete plate out recently and put one, a bezel in for a radio. This came out of an 85 truck in order to put my gauges there. I did not want the gauges hanging somewhere underneath. I wanted them on the dash. Eventually, I will probably change out the gauge cluster, but for right now, this is what I did. Yes, this truck did come with gauges, but you guys know as much as I do, they're not very accurate. These right here, these auto gauge have been very accurate as far as I can tell. So pretty happy with the way it looks, honestly, but I'd really like to put that delete plate back in to keep the dash as factory as original looking as possible. So we've been running this JBL speaker, and as good as it is, it's not good enough. So what we're going to install is all going to be hidden. You're not going to see it, and that's what I think is cool about it. So let me give you guys kind of an idea of what we're going to be doing. So here's the glove box, and as you can tell, I had already taken out the insert. The insert inside these glove boxes were cardboard, and they fell apart real easy. And I originally took it out to install my fuse or my relays for my fans, my ignition, my EFI system. We're not running the EFI no more, but we still got our fans in our ignition system inside of here. So when I took this cardboard out, of course, it just kind of crumbled and fell apart. So what we're going to do is we're going to install the Bluetooth radio right here in this glove box. And I've already started constructing a plate that's going to mount right inside of here that's going to hold the head unit. So let's go take a look at what we've got and what we're going to be doing. Okay, so what we're going to do, what we've got here, is we have a Boss Audio Systems Marine receiver here, okay? So this is like 4 inches in diameter. It's around like a gauge. So I don't know how these mount in a boat. I've never looked at one. But this puts out plenty of sound. It has outputs for an amp and outputs for all your speakers, front and rear. So it's a pretty cool little system, honestly. It's got this little waterproof rubber cover on it. I think that'll not stay on there. So here's what you got. You actually, this has a radio and Bluetooth on it. You got your menu and your song selection and your play button and then the volume button here. And this is it right here. So it's basically what you get when you buy a Bluetooth head unit for your car that has no CD player in it, but it's round instead of rectangular. There's all your wiring. Got your outputs for your audio, or for your, there they are, or outputs for your amp. Got some auxiliary outputs, antenna, and a USB port right here. So how cool is that? I mean, and it's going to fit right in the small little area that I need it to in the glove box. I mean, you're simply going to be able to pop the glove box open, turn it on, and which it should come on, you know, automatically when you power up your vehicle, and link your Bluetooth to it and roll. If you have all of your settings already set, you know, as far as your equalizer and everything, just like in your car. So it's just going to be hidden away where nobody's going to see it. And with this round one, it takes up less space. So I actually got this idea when the video you guys seen of Simple C10 and Lucky and how everything was hidden behind the seat. Well, I wanted to be able to access the head unit and his didn't really have a head unit like this. And so I got to thinking my way through it a little bit. And then I heard John Fetch talking about when he was installing the retro radio in the Fairmont. He was talking about how you can hide something away like this unit right here. So I got to doing some exploring and some research, and this is what I came up with. So we also have some Boss 4-way 6x9s and some vertical 6x9 boxes, okay? So I chose the vertical because they'll fit behind the seat really well, and you can put one on each side of the rear seat and they sit right in the pockets back there. And I got the 4-way speakers because I'm going to try not to run front speakers. And I figure with the 4-way, you're going to get, you know, your bass and your treble out of it. You're going to get a nice, clear, crisp sound. So we're going to try not running front speakers and see what we think about it. So then we also have from Rockville, which I installed the boom tube in the Pinto, and it is a Rockville, and that thing sounds great. Does really good. So we got this Rockville 600 watt 8-inch sub. It's a shallow sub, fits under your seat. It's got a built-in amp. Don't know how good this is going to sound. Have never used one of these. I think one of my kids installed one maybe in their Ranger. And I mean, it sounded decent, but I don't think it was the Rockville. It was like a Planet Audio or something. But the Rockville I've now experienced in the Pinto, and I really like it. So I decided we'd go with that. Honestly, I actually thought that I ordered the 10-inch. That's what I meant to order, but apparently I accidentally ordered the 8-inch. But we're gonna go with it. We're gonna see how we like it. So that will mount under the seat. If I don't like how it sounds under the seat, we will move it to the center behind the seat. We'll mount it behind the seat in the center, okay? We got our wiring kit for the sub. We got us a bunch of hardware and stuff, speaker wire and things like that. So one of the things that we need to do while we're doing all this is we need to pull the seat out, we need to pull the rubber mat out, and we need to fix the little hose in the floor. Now, that was my plan. Now, because I'm a little crunched on time, I don't think we're going to do that just yet. I do have some of the insulating mat to go in that will help with some of the sound deadening and everything. But I think we're going to end up doing that at a later date. We're going to go ahead and just get this thing installed, and then whenever we do the floor pan and the sound deadening, then we can reroute any wiring we need to then. Won't be a big deal, honestly. What are we going, like 3 feet, 4 feet with the wires? So it's not going very far. It's not going to be a huge deal to rerun stuff. So I think that's what we're going to do. I think we're just going to go ahead and get this installed, and then over the winter, we're going to work on floor pans in that truck and get those tidied up. Honestly, the hose are so small, we're just going to weld in a few little patches, and some of the little bitty hose we're just going to fill with weld. So that's how I'm going to do that. And then we will put some rust inhibitor on them and put the sound deadening over top of that. But that's going to be a project for another video. We're going to stick to the sound system in this one. I've already started on mounting a plate or building a plate for the glove box. So let's take a look at what I've been doing. Okay, so here is the plate that I've made. This is a piece of stainless steel. We used to be able to get this a lot, and so I've got a whole bunch of food grade stainless steel. But what we've got is we've got a 90-degree bend right here. And this is going to mount in the bottom of the glove box, and it's going to come up straight in the back. And then we've got these brackets, if you can see them there, these brackets right here that are going to mount into the top of the glove box to hold this in nice and sturdy. But you know, I don't want to just put this in here just plain stainless. We got to pretty it up a little. We got to do something to it, right? Make it look a little bit better. Not just a stainless plate back there. So let's see what we can do with some dimple dies to make this thing look a little cooler. All right, so first off, we've got to see how this head unit is going to mount and where it's going to mount at, okay? I don't want to start putting dimple dies in and get too far over to where the radio is going to mount. So let's take a look here and see what we got. All right, so it's going to mount on the right side because somewhere about in this area to the left, you've got your heater box. So it's got to mount over on this side. Let's measure this and see what the diameter actually is. We're looking at about 4.5 inches. And on this side, kind of eagle eye here. The backing is about 3, I'll take that back, about 2 3/4. So we got plenty to work with here, so I'm just going to go ahead with 2 3/4. We'll start there when we cut this hole. So I think we want to mount it somewhere right in here. Okay, so our hole is a hair big, but it's okay. It'll work out just fine. And the way this works is just like a gauge. It's got a bracket that goes on here that screws into the back of it right here that holds it in place. So, all right, now we're going to mark us some spots for some dimple dies. Give this a little hot rod look. All right, so I think that's all I'm gonna do. It's very simple, very easy to do, but being my heater box is down here, that one small hole, you won't really see it. That's why I started out with a big one here, kind of made it trickle down. But I wanted to keep most of this closed off so you don't see the heater box. So I think it's gonna look pretty cool. Now we gotta do some cleanup on this and then put our brackets back on and get ready to mount it. So I'm gonna take care of that real quick and then we'll catch up when we start mounting it. Okay, so now we're about ready to start running all of our wiring, but I thought I would put together our speaker boxes first. So that way when we run our wiring, our speakers are ready to go. So I pulled out these Boss 4-way 6x9s that we're gonna be installing in these vertical 6x9 speaker boxes. So the speakers themselves, 800 watt. I mean, I don't know if these are any good or not, guys. These are just a cheap 4-way speaker. I thought we'd give them a shot. You know, Boss has been around for quite a long time. You typically find them in Walmart and on Amazon, but they've been around a really long time. They're just a cheap speaker. I mean, I've had decent luck with some that I've put in. I haven't bought a lot of these, but what I have, I've had decent luck out of. So we're gonna find out how they sound. I'm pretty impressed with the construction of these, though. They are they look to be pretty well made, and the center cones are not paper, so I don't know what the kind of material that is, but they are not paper. And then of course we have our 6x9 boxes. They got foam padding in them, so that's real nice to kind of help with the sound. And then they got your plugins on the back, so these are pretty nice little speaker boxes. For the money, I think I only give like 35 bucks for these on Amazon. So for the money, well worth it. $35 for a pair. I was pretty happy with that. The speakers, honestly, I can't tell you how much I gave for them. I can't remember. But they weren't horrible either. They were less than 100 bucks. So we're going to install these speakers into this box. And then we will pull our sub out and take a look at it. So here we have a Rockville 8-inch subwoofer. And I don't remember how many amp this thing is. 600, or how many watts? 600 watt 8-inch subwoofer, built-in amp. It's got all your connections here, your gain, your bass boost, your low pass. So, I mean, it's pretty quality made. I like the blue. I thought that was just like a film covering for a minute, but it's not. Pretty neat. So it looks like it comes with a cable and a remote to mount under the dash to adjust your bass. There's the sub level. It's got some little mounts here, not sure what they're for. Maybe to hold it in place. Yeah, it looks like it. They mount into the sub, maybe on the side. I don't know. Figure that out. Not sure what those are for. And then it's got your wiring plug-in here also, and some screws and a little bit of hardware there. Yeah. So that's going to go under the seat. And I think that we are now ready to run some wiring. So we are going to get our amp wiring kit out, our speaker wires out, and start running all the wires that we need to run that 4 or 5 foot back to the back of the truck. Okay, so I have removed the trim piece here because we're going to run all of our wiring right down through that channel right there. So it's going to tuck inside of that panel and then down this channel right up behind the seat. So tuck everything away, and then we'll do the same thing. We'll put it in wire loom, tuck it away over to our terminal blocks next to our battery, and run everything off the battery. So yeah, let's start tracing all this wire. Okay, so I have pulled the kick plate out right here, and that's where we're not gonna pull this vent out. I think we can get the wire up through there, but that's where we're gonna tuck our wire. You can see I've got it all in a loom. This is our speaker wire. I'm gonna put the amp wiring in a separate loom. That way, if I ever need to fix any of that, they're not all in one great big bundle. So we're gonna feed this up through here. I should be able to reach right up here and grab it. All right, got it pulled through the top and around to our head unit. Now we're gonna tuck it. We're gonna tuck it right in this seam right here. And right around back here. And we are way too long. I think we would be. So we're gonna pull this out. Because again, I want this to lay right up against this back wall. Our first speaker box will sit right here. So we're gonna pull this wire out to right there. And we're gonna run our other one. I'm gonna have to move the camera. We will run our other one right down to the other end. So I'm gonna go over to that side. Get this jug of water out of here. And our case to our JBL speaker. So we will run this right down through here. All right, I'm gonna cut this wire a little long. And we'll cut our wire loom also. There we go. Speaker wires ran. Okay, so again, we are going to run this Luma wire through here. We got our hot wire, remote wire, and our RCA jacks. We're going to run them down through this channel around to the back, and they're going to curve off to the center of the seat, because that is where the amp is going to be. The amp and sub are going to be mounted under the center of the seat. So I'm going to loop these around behind the seat, and then we're going to run them through this channel and then up to the head unit. And of course, the hot wire will go through the firewall and out the back. Now we can start wiring these to the head unit. But I'm going to go ahead and feed this hot wire through one of these holes I've already got in here for my relays. I might be able to get it through this one. Okay, so something that I forgot to do when I just ran that hot wire was put this fusible link in. So totally forgot about that. So we got to find us a place to mount it. I'd really love to mount it down here next to this solenoid, but probably really need to mount it up here so it's more in line with the wire, because now that I've cut my wire and put my end on it, I don't know that I'll have enough. So, yep, totally forgot we had to put the fuse in. So, give me some sheet metal screws and screw that thing in there, and then we'll cut our wire and run it in and back out. So, now we have our fusible link in. We've got our wire ran over here. We're not going to hook it up yet, like I said a while ago. And now we can hook everything up to the head unit. We won't be long, and we'll be firing this thing up. So I'm sitting here wiring up the speaker wires, and I got to thinking a little bit about how this week I kind of got discouraged a little. And, you know, I had a situation that just kind of brought me down, right? Sometimes that happens, but I got a little discouraged, and I talked to a friend who was aware of, you know, what was going on, and he encouraged me and you know, told me to pray, seek the Lord's guidance, trust in what the Lord says, and that's always encouraging. And you know, out of the blue, my mother-in-law, she had no idea what the situation was, but I got a text from her just encouraging me and telling me she's praying for me. That was uplifting. And then spoke to another friend and really didn't tell him the situation, but he knew a little bit, but not much. And yeah, of course, he encouraged me, told me he was praying for me. So a scripture that kind of came to me as I was thinking about this comes from Isaiah 40. And most everybody knows it. It's a lot of people's favorite scripture, right? Isaiah 40:29. He gives power to the faint And to him who has no might, he increases their strength. Even youths faint and grow weary, young men fall exhausted. But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. It's Isaiah 40, 29 through 31. And that's just so encouraging and so uplifting. If we call upon the name of the Lord, that he's going to strengthen us. He's going to give us the strength that we need to go on. You know, in Psalms 121 says, I lift my eyes to the hills. From where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord who made the heavens and the earth. That would be my encouragement to everybody out there that's, you know, going through something right now that, you know, might not be nothing major, but it's something that's, you know, been a little discouraging and a little bit hard to deal with. You know, wait upon the Lord. So I want to encourage you today, reach out to somebody today. And if not today, in the morning, because I know this video didn't come out till 6 o'clock. So reach out to somebody and let them know you love them, you're praying for them, and encourage them to trust the Lord. Give them one of those verses, Psalms 121, 1 and 2, or Isaiah 40, 29 through 31. Give them those verses to encourage them, to lift them up, and to seek God for strength. So we got the speaker wires wired up. Now we got to find our remote wire on the back. We want to wire that remote wire in, hook our RCA cables up. We got to zip tie them all together. And then we'll be ready to run our power wires to the head unit. So moving right along. All right, so we are about ready to install our speakers. In the rear, I got everything wired up at the head unit. We're going to install these rear speakers and see if we have some sound. All right. There we go. There's one. All right, so we're going to turn the key on. And we have power. The lights that came on. Let's get down here where we can see it a little better. Auxiliary, radio, which we don't have an antenna. So we didn't. Hey, I hear speakers. Bluetooth. Let's see what we got. There it is, Boss Audio. The 6x9s aren't too bad. Pretty happy with those. We're gonna get the sub wired in now and see what that sounds like. All right, guys, I got the sub wired in. No, I don't have all my wires tucked away yet and zip tied. We still got a little work to do there. But let's turn this thing on and see what it sounds like. So it sounds pretty good, but I don't think we're getting enough sound inside the cab. It's too muffled behind the truck. So I've got some 6.5-inch speakers that I think we're gonna install one in the dash and see if that helps out. I got some 3-way Sonys. I think we're gonna put them in the dash, or put one in the dash in the factory hole right there. We're we're gonna mount a 6.5 in there and see if that helps us out. Okay, so the sub hits pretty hard, and played around with it some. I've got it to where it's not vibrating the whole truck anymore. Sounds pretty decent, but the 6x9s, even though they're 4-ways, I thought maybe they'd give us enough sound, but they're not. We really needed a speaker up front. So I got this 6.5 inch. I'm pretty sure this truck, the hole cutout is really a 4x6. We got this 6.5 inch Sony 3-way, and it puts out some pretty good sound. I think it makes a world of difference. Let's turn this thing on, let you guys hear it. Hopefully you can hear it pretty decent on there. Don't know. Sounds good. Much better sound up front. Pretty happy with that. Nice sound. So I'm pretty satisfied with that. That's going to be a lot better than what it was before we installed that speaker. So now I've just got to get everything cleaned up, put back together.